Storyteller, children's book author, columnist, and former TV anchor host, as well as wife and mother, Leslie Means is the founder of the popular online community and motherhood website, Her View from Home, with 2.5 million monthly readers, which encourages women to share their heartfelt stories of faith and family and to connect with one another. Her View from Home is a thriving submissions-based publisher that millions turn to for positive inspiration and advice on motherhood, marriage, kids, even life, even gift guides, and more importantly, faith. Well, Leslie Means is publishing a book called So God Made a Mother, available for pre-sale in the fall of 2022. And Leslie Means takes the reader on a journey that will make you laugh, make you cry, even nod along, and all the while highlighting a mother's God-given purpose and worth just as she is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome founder of Her View from Home, Leslie Means. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Well, what inspired you to create herviewfromhome.com?
Oh, I love this question because I only think now after 40 years have I finally figured that out. I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm a farm girl. I grew up in central Nebraska on this small town, small farm, but I never felt small. We didn't have cable, we didn't have air conditioning. It was the 80s, the farming, it was whatever, but I just felt like my story was important. And even as a kid, I remember thinking everyone has important stories and everyone has wherever they're at, wherever their view, wherever, whatever part of the country, whatever part of the world they're in, they their story is important. And I don't know how I knew that, but I know now as an adult that that was my driving force. And I knew I wanted to tell stories. Mom gave me a diary in third grade, and I wrote in that every day. And my sister also got one, and she never wrote in it. And I thought, okay, this is so interesting how, these things happen that two kids who are the same age but have such different interests. And I just knew right away, even at a young age, that stories were important. And I knew that I wanted to help tell those. And I think along my journey of 40 years, that's just kind of how it came to be. I knew I was a storyteller, and I knew I wanted to help other people tell their stories.
And I have to agree with that because just yesterday, Leslie, I made a post on Instagram and I literally said, everybody has a story to tell. And
Yep.
you really narrowed that down to motherhood. And, we all know that once we have kids, no one ever hands us a manual. And
Right.
you've created a website that literally helps mothers. Hey guys, you can go there too and learn a lot and just kind of guide everybody along.
And I think the piece of that too, and TV is my background and all that, so I've always known these stories. But I think when I first became a mother in 2008, I was not the person who wanted to pick up all the manuals that you say, right, of people of how to do this, X, Y, and Z. I found out that the best advice came from people I knew and the stories that they were telling me. And I thought, gosh, that's exactly what we all need to be doing, is sharing these stories and helping one another. And I am more of the, if I have a real and raw and personal story from a regular everyday person, that's the stuff that sticks with me. And that's the stories I think that are so important to tell.
Well, how did your experience as a TV anchor help you?
Yes, that's a great question. So, when I was in TV for about 7 years, we would interview people and places. Actually, it was the people and places of Nebraska. I was a morning anchor, and then a weekend anchor, then a morning anchor, and then we started a local talk show. And I loved it. So people would come in and we talked for a few minutes, and I just was always helping them tell their stories. And so when I left TV, I knew that that was something I wanted to do only on an online platform, because that storytelling piece was always so important to me. So it's, my broadcast journalism degree and all my TV background has always helped me get to, where I am today.
Well, how did you birth the website Her View from Home?
Oh, How much time do we have? So when I was in TV, um, this is the piece that my faith's very important to me, and I feel we talk a lot on Her View about how God whispers. I hear God whispers a lot, and my girls were little. They were like 2 and 6 months old. And on paper, my TV gig was perfect. Like I had incredible hours. And for TV, that's kind of unheard of. I was there at like 6 a.m. and I left at 1 p.m. And it was wonderful. And I got to interview people on this talk show. And it was everything on paper that I thought I wanted to do. But I felt like something was missing. I felt like there was more. And oddly enough, I met a lot of people in our community, because they come on the show and then they leave, whatever. So I had a phone call on my answering machine at work back when people still had like actual phones and answering machines. And it was from a woman named Jan. And she said, "Hey, Leslie, I have something, I have something to talk to you about. Give me a call when you get a second." And no joke, this was Jan. She was the director of our local chamber of commerce. And no joke, from that phone call, I thought, well, wouldn't that be cool if she had a job offer for me? I called her back. She had a job opening at the Chamber of Commerce. And I took it because that's just because I'm maybe a little nuts. I don't know. But I was like, okay, I feel like this is where God is leading me. I should do something different. And the first day I got that the first day I was there on the job, I remember going home for lunch and bawling and like looking in the mirror, being like, what did I do? I'm this broadcast journalism girl. I didn't even know how to do a Google spreadsheet. I had no idea. But the cool thing is that while I was still working at the chamber is when I started Her View from Home. And it was all of those business connections that really helped me put those two things together, from the business world and the TV world, to create Her View. And I just think it's so cool how, to me, that's always the little whatever it is for people. But for me, I'm like, there's no way that was not a God moment, God whisper in my life to lead me there, because I had no business going to into the business world. Like, what? No, this like journalism storyteller girl should not do that. But had I not had that connection, there's no way I could have started Her View, because we had no money. And we actually ended up there was two other founders with me when we started Her View, and we actually ended up winning a $10,000 grant from the local university that I learned about from the chamber. And so there's all these little things and all these connections of how it got started. But it was funny too when I left TV, and I'm glad I did, because I realized that I missed that storytelling piece, and I wanted to bring it back, and I wanted another way to do that. And it was just the perfect time. It was 2012 and everything had just started booming online, and it just all kind of worked out exactly how it was supposed to, I think, for me.
Well, God always has perfect timing.
Yep.
So we know that to be a fact. But what do you hope that your readers will find on Her View from Home? Because I am astonished. 2.5 million readers a month. Wow, that is great success.
Thank you. Can I tell you a story about that?
Yes.
Okay. So, Her View's 10 and a half years old, and we really didn't make any money for the first 5 years. I mean, it was enough money to pay our writers, because we do pay them per views for each piece, and it was enough to keep the lights on, as I say, and to pay our web developers, but that was about it. And in 2016, my husband encouraged me. He's like, you need to, if you're gonna make Her View a success, you need to go all in, Les. Like, you need to quit, because I was still working at the chamber and other marketing jobs in town. He's like, you need to go in and go all in and try this. And I thought, yeah, you're right. Knowing that if it didn't work, I had enough connections in town. I could go get another job somewhere. I knew that I had to help bring in some income to help pay bills. And so it's 2016. I'd quit all other jobs. I'm just doing Her View from Home. My husband and I find out we're pregnant with our third baby, and like the website's broke. Like there's not enough money coming in. And normally any normal person would be panicked, right? Like, okay, another baby's coming. You need to be responsible now, Leslie. Go find a job with actual money coming in. But I just knew, I thought, no, I'm gonna make a go of it. I remember being like, okay, God, this is it. Like, I'm gonna do what I can for the next. I had about a month, and my husband and I refinanced our house, so we didn't have to pay the mortgage that month. And not long after that, a couple weeks maybe, I got an email from a woman who said, Leslie, I've been praying about it, and I found your website and I want to share my story. And her view was really small. We had about 20,000 Facebook followers at the time and maybe 100,000 views a month. And I read her piece, and it was actually her friend had died by suicide 4 months after her baby was born. So she wanted to share that story of postpartum depression and how important it was, for women to know the signs. And we shared that piece, and the site was never the same. It completely, like, I get kind of, teary and goosebumps now. It completely took off. And not long after that, I received an email from a woman who said, thank you so much for publishing this piece. It saved my life. And that was a wow, God, like, I hear you. I'm going to keep going. And that is her view from home in a nutshell. It is every aspect of motherhood from real women who want to share the beauty of motherhood and the hard and the raw and the funny. And it's not preachy. It's not you're doing this wrong, you're doing this right. It's just a storytelling site, because no matter how much the landscape of the internet will change, and you and I both know everything's going to keep changing, a good story never goes out of style. And
That's right.
everyone has a good story to tell. I just want women to be able to not only share their story, because that's a big thing for us too. We share stories from huge authors, and we share stories from someone who doesn't even have their own social media page. We don't care. If it's a story, and we do get a lot of submissions, so we can't publish everything. But if we feel like it's a unique story, we want to help that person tell it. And we also want women and mothers to come to the site and just feel like they have their own community right there online. And it's not negative. We just really try to stay away from the anger on the internet.
Oh, absolutely. But Leslie, I mean, I'm so impressed because I know the Lord shows us these little things that causes our life to have these little twists and turns, not in a negative way, but in a guiding way. And here's this woman that sent this story to you that changed the whole dynamic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and Leslie, I took a visit to your website, herviewfromhome.com, and I found numerous articles that would resonate not only with many of my viewers and listeners, but I came across some titles of articles that really just kind of hit me, and I was like, wow, this site is so powerful. So ladies and gentlemen, I came across some articles, and some of the titles came across as Motherhood Makes You Brave. Older kids with special needs can get overlooked. It's lonely. Not all friendships are meant forever. I thought that was an amazing one. And I fight for my child in prayer. How powerful is that? But I thought I was going to have to grab Kleenex, because I came across an article and the title simply said, "The calls stopped when the casket closed."
Oh,
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's real life.
mm-hmm. And aren't these, and that, these women are such good storytellers. But that is everyone. That is real life. Thank you for saying that. Like, I feel like maybe the world is missing that piece where you make the casserole and you walk over to your neighbor and you sit down at their kitchen table and you talk to them, no matter what they think or feel or believe, you're still connecting to them, and you still have that common storytelling piece. You're still this. We're people. We're all people, even if we think differently. And I feel like the world is missing that a little bit, and I hope we can get that back on Her View from Home, and that's really what we try to do.
And the thing that really grabbed me, Leslie, which I know it grabs your 2.5 million monthly readers, and hopefully all of my viewers and listeners will literally go over there and join that community. The articles, they're absolutely incredible. But when I'm reading those titles of those articles, it's about time that somebody spoke up and talked about and not be afraid to
Right.
talk about certain things so other people will go, yeah, that happened to me.
Yep.
And that's what creates community. There's a likeness there, like, yeah, I experienced that. And so I'm not alone. And that's what I really grabbed from your site, that motherhood, sometimes it can be lonely.
Yep.
And if there are issues or situations, maybe it's a special needs kid. These people, these mothers, even the father, they're not alone, but they can learn from somebody else to understand how to navigate that situation.
Mhm.
It's part of life.
Yep. And I love that it's all over the world. It's like, gosh, we can be so different and yet have so many common core things about us. We love our kids, and we love our families, and we just want what's best for them. And yeah, I don't know. That's why I keep going back to, as a kid, I think, and that's why I'm like, God's so cool, because I just knew even at a young age that everybody had this important story to tell. And yeah, we feel like we're doing that. So thank you for
Well,
noticing.
I can tell you one thing, Leslie. The thing I absolutely agree. You just said it. God is cool, ladies and gentlemen. He will always be cool. I mean, you're never alone. The Bible says that He is with us always, so we don't need to be worrying or fretting. He's always there, ready to listen and to move on our behalf. So I always tell people, whatever is concerning you is concerning Him, and He's ready to reach out and make that situation right. Now, Leslie, share with us, what are some of the stories you received that literally made an imprint upon you that you won't forget?
Well, the postpartum piece that I talked about is always going to be with me. I We have, gosh, I don't know, 12,000, 15,000 something articles now, and there are moments in my day for the past 10 and a half years that I will remember pieces from hundreds of articles, and just throughout the month. And I'll just be like, oh, that piece I remember from that author. I mean, it's hard for me really to specifically pick one. But I also think what's interesting is my kids are 14, going to be 14, 12. I have two girls, 14 and 12, and then our boy is 5. And what I love about Her View is that it's kind of grown up with me, and now really, as my kids get older, those articles that were published 3-4 years ago, I still remember them. Now they pertain more to me raising teens. And so I love that about Her View, is that it is really for any mother of any age, because it's not just one specific piece, because motherhood continuously changes. So yeah, I can't answer that question with a one, because there's like hundreds of pieces. And these authors, I tell them all the time, I'm like, do you guys know how brave you are? Like, to share your stories like this on a huge platform. That's it's hard to be vulnerable. And just the fact that they're sharing their story is such a brave thing, and I always want them to know that.
Well, you're working on a brand new book called So God Made a Mother, which is available for pre sale in the fall of this year, 2022. Can you tell us a little bit about that book?
Oh, it's going to be good. It's so good. It's so good. So this is, the little whispery moments that I get and the goosebumps that I get. Sometimes I think, sometimes, this is me maybe being dramatic, but sometimes I feel like we created Her View from Home for So God Made a Mother. I feel like it can be this huge new brand. It's not going to stop at So God Made a Mother. We also have products on the website. And why I know that that title in particular is so good is because we have articles on Her View from Home called So God Made a Mother, So God Made a Boy Mom, So God Made a Grandma. These pieces do so well because it is heartfelt, raw, real stories. And that's what the book is. And we joke, we say it's for anyone who has a mother, is a mother, or knows a mother. And it's so true because you're going to read it. It's for every age and stage of mother. And the stories some of them are really hard because real life. Some of them are funny. A lot of them are heartfelt and emotional, and you're going to need a tissue because you're going to cry. And it's every age and stage of motherhood, but they're all relatable no matter what stage you're in. It's really Her View from Home in book form, and it's going to be I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be huge. I really think it's going to be huge.
With that many monthly readers, it's going to be a bestseller. I
I
mean,
think
that
so.
I
You
think that's a guarantee. That's a
I
guarantee.
think it's excellent. We can't wait, and I can't wait to see what happens after that and the new pieces that could come out from it. And I tell the writers that all the time. I'm like, you guys, you're just starting. Like, this is what a cool opportunity to share their stories on a whole other platform. Like, yeah.
Well, how many stories are you going to have in the book? Because if you've been receiving tens of thousands of submissions, how do you navigate through all of that?
That was very difficult. So we only opened it up to the Her View from Home writers for this very first one. So we had to narrow it down. We finally narrowed it down to 100. And then I weave the reader through. So I wrote 10 pieces in there, and then they are broken up into separate chapters. And it was awful. It was always hard choosing. And there was actually a lot of tears about it too. But we said, you know what? Because of the submissions that we had received on the first round, we were like, we could do 4 or 5 books with this alone. So that's the cool thing. And we also are like, big dreams. We're thinking, hey, we should open this up to readers too, like we did before of anybody who wants to submit. So I don't know. I think it's just started.
Well, and that's a great thing because there's so much there. There's so many spin-offs that you could do that just continues to enlarge the brand. So for all of the mothers out there that take a visit to your website, Her View from Home, what will they find?
So you're going to find heartfelt inspiration every single day. We have 3 to 5 new pieces per day. All of the pieces are on the website. You can also go to our Facebook page, which is very active, and our Instagram account, which is very active. But obviously, on the website each day, you're going to find those pieces in the faith, family, motherhood, friendship, grief, marriage articles. So it's real life, raw, beautiful content.
And it is because, ladies and gentlemen, I took a visit there and you need to do the same thing. And Leslie, one thing I've been picking up is I love your story because you've been a working mother. You then decided to step out and become an entrepreneur. So, what is the best piece of advice you have for women who want to be entrepreneurs?
I love that. Once again, it took me 40 years, I think, to realize how these things worked out. I can look back on my life, and I get emotional about this too. And we didn't have a lot of money, but what I always had, and what I know that I was blessed to have, and that not everybody does, is I've always had support. So I have 2 parents who are incredible and 3 older sisters who are so good. So they always supported me there. And then my husband is just such a huge support. And to me, my advice, for anybody who ever, whether they want to be an entrepreneur or they want to, start their own business or work at a grocery store, whatever it is they want to do, I say that you need to find one person, one person who will support you, not necessarily financially, and not somebody who will just tell you what you want to hear. You need to find one person who can be honest with you, but who believes in you too. And I tell our writers that all the time, because especially for this business, it's hard for a lot of people to understand, what you do when you're online and you're a writer. Say, find one person who you can talk to, who you can lean on, because you are going to need that. You are going to need that person to just believe in you as much as you believe in yourself. And so for me, that's always my piece of advice. Find it. There is someone out there who wants to support you in that way, and they frankly want your support as well. And so that is a game changer. That was for me.
Yeah, because I believe that we should all have a mentor of
Yep.
some kind. They may not be lifelong mentors. They may be a mentor for a season.
For a season, yes.
Yeah, and it's just so vital, especially in today's time. So many people feel alone. They have dreams that they would really like to step out and do, but they don't know how to navigate that path. And I think, especially for women today, by taking a great visit over to herviewfromhome.com, I think they're going to find that and be part of the most amazing community that I have seen in quite a while, Leslie. You've done a stunning job.
Well, thank you so much.
And I want to thank you, too, for honoring us with your time and just walking us through your amazing website. And I cannot wait for that brand new book.
I know, we're going to have to check back in.
You have to come back. So you have a personal invitation right now, because I want a copy when it debuts.
And yet,
ladies and gentlemen, I mean, ladies, and I mean it, even gentlemen, take a visit to Leslie Means' powerfully informative and helpful website, herviewfromhome.com, at the bottom of your screen. We all need a community like that to help us navigate through life. Now think of it as the holding of your hand the digital way. So just think about that again. Go to herviewfromhome.com. You will literally be not only blown away, you will be blessed. And you never know, you may find the right link, the right article that puts a spark in you, and God's telling you it's time to go. So, hey, dreams are made to come true, and you never know, it may be right there in front of you at herviewfromhome.com. We will be right back after this.
You haven't seen anything like ACU 2020. Primrose Leaf brings you the ultimate optimal eye support formula, containing more than 12 natural ingredients specifically designed and formulated to improve and maintain the health of your eyes. ACU 2020 may help with the prevention of cataracts and macular degeneration, providing antioxidants specific for your eyes, and proper ocular pressure for those with glaucoma. Don't let the windows to your world be less than their best. Get ACU 2020 today and start to see things in a whole new way. 844-376-0007 or primroseleaf.com.